I'm Rob.
And I'm Louie.
And we have tried so many times to get this name right. Now this is DownStream VR Whitewater Kayaking Review.
Correct.
By
Barefoot Gaming.
Oh my goodness. Okay, now that we finally got that out of our mouths, Louie, what is this game?
It is a whitewater kayaking game, if you can believe it or not.
And you go downstream.
Oh,
so you're actually going to take the stream and go down it.
In VR.
So, not a first-person shooter. Very clear, yeah. Thank you for pointing that out, because you control your kayak with your motion controllers.
Yes.
So, you've got two different ways to do that. You paddle really close to you to try to keep yourself moving in a more straight line. You paddle out if you want to do more of a turn.
Yep.
And then you can stick your paddle in the water a ways away from you to do a sharper turn.
Yes. And if you get hung up on the rocks, you can cross your paddles and it'll show up with a little purple sphere and push that against the rocks and it'll shoot you back into roughly the center of the river. Sometimes if it's a narrow part, right up onto the other side.
Yeah, and there's a couple of different kinds of, routes you can take. Like, let me clarify. There's a couple of different kinds of tracks.
Yes.
Okay, so one is like the Rockies. One is like in a winter.
Yep.
One is like, I think there's what, three? There's four.
Four.
There's four in total, and they all play the same.
Yep.
But different, and it's nice. I'm glad that they have different kinds of environments that you're racing through.
Yep, and you have to unlock them by playing the first one a couple times, or the first one exceptionally well the very first time you ever play it.
You're gonna play the first one a couple times.
A couple times, because the second map will actually only unlock on level 3.
Yep.
And then level 4, and then I think level 6 for the last one.
So Louie, what are you talking about? Level 3, level 4?
Well, as you go through the maps, you earn XP and you level up.
Something that is important is that you are racing against other bots, for example.
Yeah, like ghost racing, for example.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to come up with. And when I first popped in, I went for a little while, and Louie and I were playing at the same time. We didn't play multiplayer, but all of a sudden I saw his Steam name in front of me. And I'm like, oh, there he is. Right?
Beating him.
And then I passed it, of course.
Dang it.
So it's a neat concept to make you, it's an extra challenge, an extra push.
Yes.
To actually get you going. The only other thing I can think of with this game is power-ups.
Yes.
There are different power-ups. Now, some of them,
or a parachute for if you're going too crazy and out of control, you can pull your trigger and a parachute will come out and it'll straighten you out.
Yeah, another one is like armor, for example.
Yes.
Because your kayak will only take so much damage before it's shot.
Yes.
So you bump into too many things, it's over. And the water moves pretty quick.
Yes, and when your kayak is shot, you go back to the last checkpoint. Do you need to know what checkpoints are, Rob?
I do.
Oh.
What's a checkpoint, Louie?
I don't know.
Okay, so I think we've talked about the game itself. Let's review it. Give me pros, give me cons, and tell me if you would recommend this game, Louie.
One of my pros is I liked the aspect of sitting down low in the water. I was really excited to play this game.
That's a really good point. The fact that you play this game seated, I really should have mentioned that.
Yes. You can play it standing.
But you're not going to room scale. You're not going to...
Yeah.
You just have to make sure that you have room to reach in all directions.
Yes, exactly.
To actually reach in all directions.
Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No problem. So you're sitting really low to the water. You can adjust how high up you are. A couple of my cons are when you're kayaking, it's not just your paddles that are doing the work. Your body is doing a lot of work. You're twisting and turning your body and therefore the kayak in the water. And that's partly how you keep yourself straight. So just doing this was not doing it for me. I couldn't stretch my kayak paddle out correctly, and so I ended up doing this weird jab it in and pull technique, which actually Rob happened to be doing as well. And I love kayaking. I've kayaked in real life, and it just didn't feel like kayaking to me. It could have been any other game,
In fact, you actually said at one point when we were trying this together, you were saying something along the lines of, it feels a little bit like a skiing game.
Yes, there's lots of skiing games where you're doing a lot of this, but a kayaking is more like this, and instead of your blade being right at the end of your hand, it's actually sticking out a foot or 2 feet, depending on the style of double blade that you have. And maybe to the developer, when you're putting your paddle into the water, maybe add some force feedback so that the further you dip your paddle in, the more force feedback coming into the controller. And this was just a really awkward set of motions for me to learn and try to use, and I found it difficult.
Do you recommend it?
I do not recommend it, but it's right on the bubble. Some people are really going to enjoy this. People who like skiing games.
So, okay. So, Louis' right in the sense that it does feel a little bit less like kayaking and more like skiing, except it's expanded, right? You do have the ability to actually reach out and affect your controls.
Yeah.
And I mean, I played through this for a while, and it was neat, but it didn't really it didn't scratch my itch.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not really going to be continuing to play this game. That does not mean that this isn't going to be the right fit for you out there. If this looks like it's something that will be an absolute blast, just watching the gameplay.
Yeah.
If you like the idea of the challenge, I found the controls to be a little frustrating.
Yeah.
No matter, like, I get that when you're paddling to the left that you'll turn it to the right a little bit. I get all of that, but sometimes it felt like I was doing stuff and it wasn't affecting my movements.
Right.
And you know, maybe that's something that's fixable. Maybe that's entirely user error,
Yeah.
right? But having played it for a while, it was still frustrating right until the end.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to recommend it. I think it's a neat game. I think some people will like it.
Yeah.
So if you, worst case scenario, buy it and refund it if it's not for you. If you
Yes.
think this is something you could like, try it out, because it is polished. It looks nice.
Yeah.
And the audio is super cool. A little loud. This game was
Very
louder
loud.
than all of my other games. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but that's kind of it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our review.
Yeah.
Don't forget to share our videos if you want to let the world know about a better way to learn about games.
That's right.
Subscribe, like, comment. We love hearing from you. And we will talk to you again real soon. See ya.